I'm with Andy Friedman, the owner and developer at Mobenzi, and I'd like to speak to him a bit about his company. Andy, could you tell me a bit about your company?
Sure. So Mobenzi's been around as a division of our company, Claro. It's been around for about 5 years now as a division. And we originally started off just focusing on mobile data collection. So we were brought some pretty stiff challenges from NGOs that we were working with to collect data in pretty rural settings. And the requirement was to use mobile technology rather than pen and paper to facilitate data collection. So that was the origin of our foray into this kind of space. It's developed and expanded over the last couple of years to now look at a workflow around community healthcare and managing and empowering community health workers to both collect data but also to manage the workflow and the scheduling of visits and so on that goes with that. So we've kind of expanded into two different platforms, one called Mobenzi Researcher, which is a mobile data collection engine used for a variety of healthcare purposes, and Mobenzi Outreach, which is a platform for community health workers to perform their jobs more effectively.
What are the key challenges that affect you, implementing your technologies in the South African market?
I think, in general, technology can only solve a portion of the problem. We had discussions around this at this particular conference that as good as the technology can be, you still need the role players to accept it and to use it effectively. So whilst we try and leverage the cell phone literacy that our community health workers have, we still need the buy-in from the organization, from the Department of Health and the various role players to actually make it work effectively. So what we found to be quite challenging is that each scenario is quite different, and projects, even though they're trying to achieve the same thing, often have completely different protocols. That means that you need to ensure that you are flexible enough to devise a solution which will work in a variety of different scenarios.
And if we look at the cost implications of something like this, because from what I can see is that usually, you do large surveys, and I can just think of one that's happening in the health promotion unit of the MRC. They do the youth behavior risk assessments, and they print hundreds and hundreds of questionnaires. And obviously then that means that people have to physically complete these questionnaires, come back, capture the data, and then analyze the data. What are the type of cost savings, and in what areas do you make these cost savings with this particular technology, and particularly Mobenzi Researcher?
Sure. Well, you've already, I think, alluded to some of the areas of complexity when dealing with the logistics around paper-based data collection. So you don't have to print the questionnaires anymore. You don't have to distribute them anymore. You don't have to collect them from the field. You don't have to have data capture anymore. So when you take the whole life cycle of a data collection project and you exclude a large portion of the logistics elements, certainly mobile technology makes a lot of sense. The flexibility that you have to alter questionnaires, for example, at late stages in a project really does start to pay dividends. The fact that when you are out there you can validate the data before it comes back to the field, from the field I should say, is really a huge cost saver, because with a paper-based paradigm what you find is that the data is only actually analyzed and validated in some cases weeks, months, years after it's been collected, and it's very expensive to fix those data integrity problems. So by making the data collection real time, besides all the other benefits of being able to use it, you can clean it in real time, you can analyze it in near real time, and you can respond to the challenges that you would normally not be able to in a paper-based environment.
So then also, as you said, all these things are real time, and there are generic tools like SurveyMonkey that's out there. So what makes Mobenzi unique that sets itself above things like SurveyMonkey?
Well, SurveyMonkey, as an example, is geared towards web-based data collection, whereas obviously our solution is geared towards mobile. So we specifically look at empowering field workers, be they enumerators, community health workers, nurses, whoever is collecting the data at the point where the data exists. So whether it's in a facility, in a person's home, or just about any other mobile environment. So there's certain logistical and environmental challenges that go along with doing that. For example, you can't rely on network connectivity. You need to have an app which is installed on the device which can work offline. So that would be one of the very, very simple examples of how this is different from a SurveyMonkey or a web-based type tool. You're using very low-cost phones with a smart client architecture, which means we store the data locally and we forward it to the server as and when network connection is available.
Okay. And so, so you would have to actually develop this per client. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of initiative.
It is in the sense that it's a standalone solution and it's off the shelf. When you say we would develop it for each client, we actually have a web-based system which allows clients themselves to design their own forms. So just like you would use a SurveyMonkey type of tool, you would use our web-based system for designing your workflows and designing your forms, and then the mobile app would download those form templates and allow people to conduct the surveys. So all you need to do is learn how to design a survey using the web-based tool, and you can go for it on your own.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, and it was really useful. And we'll make your details available online so that people can get in contact with you should they want to do something like this.
Great.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
your time.
Jill. Cheers.